day that they see me, they like, what's up, dude? I tell them not much, but we know it's not true. Got a to-do list that every day I gotta run through. I don't wanna small talk about it, let it work talk for me. I don't tell nobody about my secrets. Keep it to myself, cause nowadays they wanna leak it.
Screws Podcast presented by wavegolfcompany.com. Head over, check it out. Really cool stuff. And Bryce and I are wearing the hats if you're checking us out over on YouTube. Bryce looks pretty slick. Look all right, man.
Yeah, I just
Damn, Daniel.
just shaved the other day, so
yeah. You want to do it? You want to do it right away? You want to redeem yourself right away?
yeah, I actually used my lawnmower 4.0, brought to you by Manscaped. Feel free to go down in the description, use our discount code for 20% off and free shipping. Not only the lawnmower, they also have a bunch of great products. They have the ball deodorant, which is another good one, and the ball toner. Keep them nice and toned. So
I like it, man. I got the nose trimmer as well, and yeah, it's been good. 20% off plus free shipping. Okay, let's get into it. So we have a really cool chat coming up with Jason Logan. So he is the editor of ScoreGolf magazine. So, you know, if you're up north of the border here, it is a prominent magazine. We all look forward to the course rankings that come out each year. And we've had Anthony, my buddy Anthony Spagnoli on the past, who's played all the top 100 courses in Canada. He's one of only 3 or 4 people to do that. He was the first guy to do it, which is insane.
yeah, just a crazy thing to say. Eh?
Think about playing like 100 different courses, let alone the top 100 in, I think he did the 2018 and 2020 list. There was only a couple differences. So, yeah, it's just an insane list. And to be able to say that you've done that is absolutely incredible. So, yeah, Jason Logan, ScoreGolf. He's been around for 20 years in the industry. We talked a little bit about Canadian golf, you know, the Canadian Open, who we had Callum on a couple weeks ago now. We had him come on and we talked about it because he's going to be playing in it. So really looking forward to getting that back. And just a couple stories, you know, really cool stories about some of the things he's encountered along the way. He's been around, seen the game a long time, was hired by Bob Weeks, past guest. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, the top 100 list is kind of like, I don't know if it's like polarizing, you know, but it kind of like really grabs a lot of people's attention each year when it comes out. So I think I was like really interested in how all of the raters kind of, well, get their position to become a rater or a course rater or a ranker, you know, a panelist, whatever you want to call it. And then the things that they need to go through to do that as well. And to like any of the criteria to rank the courses. I think that was really important. So we get into all of that. We'll timestamp it down below. But Bryce and I wanted to quickly hop on talking about like the top 100 courses in Canada or just traveling in general. We wanted to talk about some of the, you know, places we've gone to golf. Just a quick like idea of some of our favorite places to go play. So I know Bryce, you want to jump in? I know you had a little trip last year.
Yeah, so me and my fiance went down to Florida. Just the two of us went down for a week, and she doesn't usually like to be dragged around the golf course, but she came out with me. We went to the Disney Palms course. Those Disney courses are awesome, by the way. Like if you ever get a chance to play them, I highly recommend them. But I just love playing golf in Florida because it's so different than here in Michigan and back at home in Ontario, just because the grass is so different. The turf interaction when you're playing, it's just a whole new ball game, and it kind of takes a couple holes to get used to if you haven't done it before. But yeah, I just the warm weather and the wildlife down there is so different, and it's fun playing out there.
Better wedge player down there or worse wedge player down there?
First couple holes I struggled. I duffed a couple just because that grass.
Yeah, it kind of like balls up, right? It bunches up under it.
Yeah. But I kind of got used to it. I played pretty well actually. I fired a 75 and it was my first round of the year. So
I did I posted one of your reels with you like absolutely gassing a drive like 342 or something like that. So it was it was pretty good.
I think the ball actually flies a little farther because of like the heat.
Yeah, definitely, like humidity levels and stuff. But you rolled a couple nice putts too. Like you played pretty well, man. So
yeah, that's not my game either. So those greens are pretty nice to me.
I didn't travel a whole ton last year, but I have been down east. I got rained out most of the trip, but I did play a really nice little track called Chester Golf and Country Club right on the ocean. It's about like 45 minutes southeast of Halifax, downtown Halifax. And then we went up the Cabot Trail, got rained out. Went into PI, got rained out. So I was near some really nice courses and didn't get to play much. I was with Carly, so my wife Carly. And then last year we played Deerhurst, which was really good. That's, a couple hours north or whatever. And, part of the reason that sparked this is as this episode is out, I will be in Victoria. So I'm going to be playing Bear Mountain, Highland Pacific, a couple nice courses. So I've never been out west, so I'm going, as far west as I possibly can, which is cool. Hoping to get on Victoria. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be really cool playing with our good pal Lucas Noni. He's been on the podcast in the past, PGA Tour Canada player, and so I'm looking to get absolutely dusted by him quite a few times, and I think it'll be a good time. Hopefully, link up with Kylie. She's been on the pod in the past as well. Play around with her if possible, but just playing golf right now. If you're from this area, if you're from the Greater Toronto area, you can't play golf here outside. So I think it'll be cool. But if you're listening to this podcast and you're over on YouTube or anything, send us a DM. Send us go over to at OTS Golf over on Instagram. Let us know where we can travel, play some golf. I definitely, as things are kind of reopening in our society, I definitely want to get out and play a little bit more this year. So if you have any courses that you really like, please let us know. Bryce as well. We'll be meeting up to play some golf this year, Bryce, which will be pretty good. Looking forward to it.
Especially if there's any listeners in Michigan, let me drop it in the comments. I'd love to find some new courses out here. I haven't been here for that long, so I'm still kind of trying to find those hidden gems. And
so if you're on YouTube, just go ahead, drop them below. We'll pick them up, or go over to at On the Screws podcast or at OTS Golf over on YouTube or over on Instagram, sorry, and drop them there. But let's get in the chat with Jason Logan from ScoreGolf. Really, really cool guy. Knows a lot about the game, in Canada. So pretty fascinating chat. Thanks for staying with us. Before we go, thanks to our Patreons, Brian, Carly, Matt, and again, if you have any questions about how we run our Patreon program, feel free to send us a DM. It's we don't take anything from it. Anything that you send to us, support us with, we give that back to you in, a connection with somebody like Wave Golf, Pioneer Golf, Goat Track, something like that. One of the podcasts or groups that have been on the podcast in the past, and kind of like the local brands and stuff. We're going to send you some products from them, but let's get into it. Jason Logan, ScoreGolf, senior editor there, has been around a long time. Kind of lets us know a little bit about the top 100 and whatnot. Really great chat. Thanks, Bryce.
Yep. Enjoy, guys.
All right, welcoming to the pod, on the Screws podcast, Jason Logan, editor of ScoreGolf magazine. Jason, how are you doing, man? Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Just sharing some stories about Oshawa and stuff, and kind of
Durham region.
Yeah, Durham region area, and kind of growing up in the ScoreGolf era. So maybe you can we can jump right into it. You can tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of how long you've been with ScoreGolf. I know it's been some time now, and kind of take me down through my my past childhood and throwing it on the weekends to watch Bob Weeks.
Yeah. I started with ScoreGolf in 2003 as an assistant editor. I got hired by Mr. Weeks. It was my first job that I got out of journalism school, although I was out of journalism school for over a year before I got the job. I was just doing like the bartending and waitering thing. I had my journalism degree from Carleton University, graduated in 2001, kind of gave myself that summer just to relax and, make a bunch of money doing the waitering and bartending, have some fun, and trying to get a job that fall. And then 9/11 happened, and it became really, an unstable place. And I just, I couldn't find a job, and eventually just serendipitously sent Bob an email and told him who I was. And I'd been playing golf since I was like 6 years old, and I had a journalism degree, and I'd worked at a golf course, and, I'd love to get my foot in the door. And, he invited me down for a chat, said, I don't have any jobs, but you can come in and you can have a chat with me, and maybe I can point you in the right direction. And as I found out later, they actually were starting to contemplate hiring somebody, and my email just happened to arrive at a very good time for me. And so he invited me back down for another interview, and got the job as assistant editor in 2003. And I have not moved on. So I'm still here almost 20 years later, obviously kind of climbed the ladder, assistant editor, managing editor, eventually became editor. Weeksy left for TSN, and I took over all of the content for the magazine and the website and the TV show that we used to have. And so it's been a good long run.
Yeah, like I mentioned, that TV show was kind of like a staple in my weekends when I was a young guy, when I was playing golf and stuff. So it was kind of always golf for you though, Jason. Like you were always interested in golf.
I started playing golf when I was, like I said, around 5 or 6. My earliest memories of playing golf were at Summerlee Golf Club, which is a par 3 course that you might know up near my hometown of Blackstock, Ontario, outside Port Perry, Ontario. And, I would go there with a sawed-off 3-iron and an 8-iron that was too long for me and a putter, and just walk around with my dad or my brother, my uncle when he would come to visit. And I don't know, it's just always was a golfer. Just go out in the yard and swing the golf club constantly. Golf was on the television every single weekend. Vivid memories of watching Jack Nicklaus lose the Canadian Open to Greg Norman and being so heartbroken as a little kid, even though I didn't even really know who Jack Nicklaus was. I just knew my dad was cheering for him. And so, yeah, just played golf my whole childhood. Actually kind of quit golf in high school for almost all of high school, really. I just kind of, I don't know, fell out of love with the game, and, got to an age where all of a sudden mom and dad weren't paying for my rounds, and there was other things to spend money on. And I remember, it's funny, we some buddies and we did this like summer long, almost a decathlon, 2-person teams. We'd have 2-on-2 basketball tournament and bocce ball and this game called pool baseball, and it all culminated before we went back to school with golf. And it was like my first time going back to the golf course in 2 or 3 years, playing up at Mill Run. And just remember getting out there and thinking, like, I can't believe I quit this game for 3 years, because I just love it. It's just amazing to be back out there. So then the summer after high school, I got a job at Mill Run Golf and Country Club over near Uxbridge for a couple summers, and played golf a little bit up at school at Carleton. And yeah, I haven't put the clubs away since that hiatus in high school.
Yeah, I had a little hiatus as well after high school. Like I played in high school a little bit, and then, you go on. I did some trades and stuff like that. Kind of like stepped away from the game, got into like weightlifting and stuff, which is not conducive with golf at all. I have no idea why I bothered doing that. But man, I remember Summerlee. Funny enough, I actually played there this summer for the first time in maybe 20 years. I'm not that old of a guy, but a good 18 years. With a couple of guys from work. One of the guys got hit with a ball, so I'll never forget that.
No.
But yeah, it was one of the guys I work with, a Scottish guy, and he was okay. Luckily, he was okay. But I remember a round of golf at Summerlee where I was playing with my brother when I was younger, and I almost had 2 hole-in-ones, and he had a near hole-in-one as well, all in the same round.
Oh, yeah.
All within like a couple inches of the cup, or but it's a cool little track to learn on. You can go there, like you said, a 3-iron if you're young, an 8-iron, and pitching wedge or something, and a putter, and you can kind of walk around, have a good time, and just it's a pretty cool course.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I grew up there, and had some good memories. Have a bad memory. I actually broke my arm at Summerlee when my buddy and I were out playing at dusk, and his sister worked at the golf course at the time. She just got her learner's permit. She came out to the golf course to pick us up because his mom was there, and the sprinklers were on. It was dusk. She tried to do a little joyride, and she tried to make this 180-degree turn, like around a tree that was on a hill, and the cart flipped. And my buddy got thrown like 40 yards down the hill, and the cart flipped on my arm, and it was pinned under it. I broke both bones in my arm. I just remember walking back to the clubhouse. It was the farthest point from the clubhouse too. Just walking back to the clubhouse, holding my arm, and his sister saying, maybe it's just sprained. And I'm like, no, it's definitely broken. It's just killing me right now.
Do you remember what month it was? It was probably like April too, like start of the golf season.
I remember specifically, it was August 13th. I don't know why I remember that day, but it was August 13th. And the reason why I remember it because it meant I couldn't play hockey until January. And I was mostly devastated about that. And I remember the funny part is I remember my dad going in, and we weren't going to do anything. with the golf course with the old ownership at the time, because it was, you know, a family friend who was working there and it was just an accident. But I remember the old owner of the golf course saying, we'll give him a free membership for the rest of the year. Like, what good is that going to do? I'm gonna cast up to my elbow for the rest of the, or up to my shoulder for the rest of the golf season. So thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, it might not work out too good for you at that point.
No.
But some of the courses you played, Jason, like obviously I want to get into the list. Everybody loves the top 100 list, the top 59 public list and stuff. I would love to chat about that. But are there a couple? Have you got out to play a lot of these courses yet?
Well, yeah, I mean, not as many as a lot of the guys on the panel. I think at last count, the last top 100, I think I'd played maybe around 60 or maybe not that many. Can't remember exactly. But I mean, I've certainly played most of the top courses in the country. I mean, I've played just about everything there is to play around Toronto, in the Southern Ontario area. You know, I've been out to Cabot, Highlands Links. I've been out west and played the likes of Capilano and Victoria Golf Club. I've been to Alberta to play Banff and Jasper. I mean, there's still certain courses in the upper echelon on the list that I haven't seen that I would really like to see, but
Right.
It's less important that I see those courses than it is for the panelists to see the courses. I'm not on the panel. We've never had anybody who's employed at ScoreGolf be on the panel. It's just a rule we've always had. But yeah, like you know, sometimes it's hard for me to travel during the summer because I'm really busy and I have 2 young kids and it's hard to get away. But I'd like to start making a point of getting out to see a few more courses that I haven't seen. I want to really see Mickelson National. I want to see Sagebrush. Blackhawk is a course I've always wanted to see. So there's some that are definitely still on my bucket list that I hope to knock off over the next couple of years.
Yeah, Sagebrush and Blackhawk, they both come up whenever we're talking golf courses. It seems that those two pop up. So I mentioned I'm going out west here in a little bit. Well, this podcast airs, I think I'll actually be out there at the time. So hoping to play a little bit of Bear Mountain and you know, see if I can find a way onto some of the other courses out there. So you're not actually on the panel yourself. So can
No.
you kind of explain like how somebody or how you would select them, kind of what the criteria is like to select a panelist, and how many do you have? How many do you have on like under the ScoreGolf?
We have right around 100. I'm just actually going through a bit of a review
Okay.
process right now. I usually do that at this time of year, check in to see with some guys to see if they want to continue on. You know, I'll do an audit of everybody's activity. And if I see somebody who I don't think is pulling his or her weight, I'll have a conversation with them about, you know, maybe it's time for you to move on, especially if they've been on the panel for a long time, because it's not, you know, it's obviously it's a cushy gig and, you know, a lot of people would like to be on the panel, but I mean, some of the lengths that these guys and gals go to play courses around the country. I mean, you've talked to Anthony and there's other panelists as well. I mean, these guys are spending thousands of dollars
Right.
going away, you know, weeks at a time. Like, not everybody is in the position to do that. I certainly couldn't do that at this stage of my life. So as far as putting people on the panel, I have a thorough application process that somebody has to fill out, and they'll send me that application and I'll discuss their application with a few of my longtime panelists, and we'll make a decision, yes or no. You know, I'm really trying to get more diversity on our panel. I'm adding a few more women to the panel this year. I'm always looking for people in provinces where we're not as represented as well as we should be. Atlantic Canada, the prairies. But you know what? It's difficult to find somebody who already has access to a lot of courses without ScoreGolf's help. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. I don't want somebody who says, you know, I love the top 100. I'd love to see all the courses. I played 7 of them, but you know, with your help, I could play more. And that's not really what I'm after. I'm after somebody who can come to me and say, like, I don't need your help to get on courses. I have all kinds of connections. I know my way around private clubs. I can do it, but I'm really interested in golf course architecture and I'd like to be part of the process. And that's sort of most important for me, is getting somebody who kind of already has those ins rather than relying on ScoreGolf's help.
Right. Got a couple of questions for you kind of related to that. Is there a certain amount of courses that you would suggest a rater or a panelist play like each year? Like, is there kind of a number you're trying to get, like, you know, 10, 15, whatever it is, so they can kind of collect the ratings for you? And is it are you able to kind of, it's not just architecturally based, or is it like, is there a certain criteria that each of these men and women are trying to follow so they can all kind of rate the same way?
Yeah, I'll answer the second question first. So there's
Sure.
definitely criteria, and it is definitely all architecture based, which I think is a misconception when it comes to our top 100, because I think a lot of people view the top 100 list as a ranking of golf clubs, but it's a ranking of golf courses, and there's a difference between the two. We don't have any spots on our evaluation form for somebody to rank how good the clubhouse is, how good the practice facilities are, what the service is like, what the ambience is like, what the history of the club is, like none of that stuff. Other rankings do, which is fine. That's just not the way we do it. Our ranking is solely based on the golf course. And as I always say to our panelists, your ranking should be based on what you experience between the first tee and the 18th green. So they're ranking courses on challenge, design, strategy, beauty, par 3 holes, par 4 holes, par 5 holes, conditioning, and fun factor. And fun factor actually carries the biggest weighting. It's 20% of a course's mark, which again differentiates us from some other lists. A Golf Digest, for example, puts a high degree on shot making and the challenge of the golf course. We're inclined to think that the golf course is better if it's fun to play and you'd want to play it again right after finishing up.
Well, yeah, I know. Like for me, it's whenever the list comes out, like we want to go on, we want to check it out. You guys do a great job. On like the score, like I follow the Instagram account, so that's the easiest way to kind of get access to it. Like I followed the top 59. I played quite a few public courses, so I played quite a few this summer, which was great. And you know, I kind of want to have a look at that list, and then it sort of helps you navigate some of the courses you might want to check out, right? So the idea is to give people like a better understanding of kind of how the rankings work and the list. So knowing that it's a fun factor and knowing that you're going to go out there, like golf can be a lot of fun. It can also be pretty difficult, as you know, at times, but
Yeah,
knowing that that's a heavily weighted point, I think a lot of people would appreciate that too, right? Because it's going to give people a better experience at the course in general, right? Some people might not necessarily have much interest in the clubhouse or practice facilities or whatever it may be,
Right.
where the course is kind of paramount in that sense. So if we can loop back, so the panelists themselves, are you trying to get them to play like a certain amount throughout the year?
Yeah, sorry, I missed that.
No, that's
I forgot
okay.
to answer that question. So the requirement is 10 per year, and it doesn't mean that they have to play 10 top 100 courses. In fact, it just means that they have to play and rate 10 courses, period. Because another thing that I tell them is, I don't want you just going and rating courses that are already on the top 100 or courses that are just outside the top 100. As you know, we also have the top 59 public ranking. So really, I'm asking them to rate anything and everything that they play, whether it's a course that they know in a million years is not going to get on either one of those lists. I want them to rate it anyways. Two reasons. I just, you never know when you're going to come up on something that all of a sudden you think deserves merit for one of those lists. You might get surprised. You should always be going in with a ranker's mind. And then secondly, we do have courses that inquire and saying like, where are we at? Like, how many people have rated our courses? And be nice to be able to tell them the minimum requirement for a course to be eligible on the list is 10. I can tell you've had 6, so we'll try and get some more guys out there to see your course, right? So I do ask them 10. The last couple of years have been tough, obviously with COVID. Guys haven't been able to travel as much. Guys haven't been able to access private clubs as much. I'm hoping we've turned the corner on COVID when it comes to golf. And also, obviously, courses are busier than they ever have been. So it hasn't been easy. So I'm cutting some people a little bit of a slack. But in general, I want them to be out there rating at least 10 courses per season.
Yeah, that's it's not that many when you really think of it. But as you were saying that, I kind of had like Humber Valley in my mind, right? And obviously one of the top courses in Canada, but it's out in Newfoundland, a tough place to travel, right? So depending on how many rankers you have out there, but I kind of like how you got to play 10, and everybody's gonna have a difference of opinion on things, right? Like I mentioned, I've a friend of mine, Anthony Spagnoli, is on the panel, and he was saying that he likes a lot of courses for this reason, and I might like them for a different reason, but he has the kind of criteria that you guys follow. He's been able to play the top 100, which is pretty amazing. Like to be able to do that is
Yeah.
played 100 of
Yeah.
those courses, and I know Luke Steeden has as well. A friend of mine out west, AJ, he runs Pioneer Golf Company. Is a good friend with him. They play quite a bit. And I think was there one other that has done the top 100?
I don't know off the top of my head. I know there was a guy on my panel who I think like Anthony, he needed Humber Valley to finish.
Okay.
I think he might have needed the Algonquin too, but he had planned a trip in. He was all set because I remember him sending me a note that says, I'm gonna do it this year in like February of 2020, and then obviously all the travel restrictions came into place with COVID, so he didn't get out there, and I'm not entirely sure if he finished it or not. There may have been one or two other people who have finished the list over the years. I mean, it's always changing, right? It's fluid,
Right.
so who knows? This list might come out, and some of those guys might realize that they have one more course to knock off for the 2022 list. I'm not sure.
I guess that's true. It's kind of like a, but I guess if you get close, it's probably kind of like there's a novelty to it, I guess, right? Too. So,
Yeah.
do you do anything like with those guys, like after they finish it, like do you like write a piece or anything like that? Is there anything that you're able to, to kind of recognize them? I guess I know when I was looking back on like Pioneer's a head cover company, and I know Luke had a head cover made up, which was pretty cool. Like it was to commemorate that, right? So that's what kind of got me thinking. Like it would be really, I don't know, that'd be something that in the golf world, few people would. There's lots of pro golfers who've won many majors and stuff like that, but also be able to play top 100 courses in the country you live in is
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. We should do something. I mean, I do know that I wrote a column, I think a couple of years ago, that talked about some of the guys. I think it was right before COVID, that talked about some of the guys who were nearing the completion of the list. It's funny. I remember having a chat and writing about Kyle Dubas, who's a big top 100 guy. He loves golf course architecture, and him and his buddies kind of have a little spreadsheet that they keep, and they challenge each other to play the most top 100 courses, and it's kind of an ongoing thing. So that was kind of interesting. You hear all kinds of perspectives from people that see the list, want to play as many, obviously have complaints about the list, criticism of the list. I mean, frankly, when the list comes out, I look at it sometimes and think, I'm not sure why that course is 10 spots ahead of that one, but say la vie, that's what it is, right? I mean, you get 100 different people, 100 different opinions. I mean, not everybody's going to agree with the ranking, and I think that's why I like the way we do it, is because it is very democratic. We don't have a tiny small panel of 10 guys who think the exact same. We have 100 different people of different backgrounds, of different ability, who live in different places, and they all put in their scores, and then we see what democracy spits out. So I like the way we do it, and it's obviously a big cross section to have.
Yeah, it's definitely, like, I'm sure there's a lot of courses, like anything really, like you would be wanting to be on that list, because it's I don't want to say it's like sensationalized, but when it comes out, it's like, everybody's kind of checking it out. They want to go play. And like I said, that's kind of how you navigate where you want to play a few of the rounds. And I still have probably 80 to go. So I'm not approaching the top 100 anytime soon. And like you said, it keeps revolving or evolving too. Right. So that it's just kind of a cool thing. I wanted to touch on it, kind of give our viewers or our listeners an idea of how that comes out. 'Cause there has got to be so much work that goes into it. So appreciate you, your team, all the panelists, all the work that they do. And it's pretty cool. It's definitely something I look forward to. When can we expect it to come out for this season, Jason?
I don't have an exact date of when. I mean, I think the last couple of years, what we've been doing is we've been counting down the top 100 in groups of 10. I think we'll do that again because it's proven to be very popular.
Yeah.
And that started in like July. I mean, basically I need to, although it's it's an evergreen thing, and that people are always rating courses, and I'm always collecting data for it. I normally put a cutoff point around middle of June and say, like, okay, I'm collecting the data on this day, so if you haven't got your scores, and get them in. And we need some time to put together the magazine, put together the social media posts, put together the videos that all go along with it. So I normally collect the data around the middle of June, and then we start to release the rankings in July. So I expect we'll be on the same timetable this year.
Love it. Okay. So anybody listening, again, if you're on Apple, Spotify, anything like that, when you kind of stop the car, if you're in the car listening, or if you're over on YouTube, scroll below. I'm going to link the Instagram handles below and the website. So if you're kind of fascinated with the list like I am, go below, click the link, follow along, and then you can kind of check it out for yourself, which is pretty cool. finally though, we got the Canadian Open back. Can we touch on the Canadian Open a little bit? What you guys kind of
Yeah,
have on
let's hope
deck for
so.
that? Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
it sounds like it's a
I
go.
yeah, I mean, listen, I think it's. I mean, I'm 99% sure that it's going to be a go. I mean, but this is such a volatile world right now.
Right.
And who knows what we're going to be dealing with come June, but we'll definitely have a lot of preview stuff in the second issue of the year. We'll definitely be on site. It's literally a 5-minute bike ride from my house, St. George's. So I've been sitting here waiting for this tournament to play because I can't wait to just walk home or bike home and don't have to drive anywhere. I don't have to fly anywhere. I don't have to stay in a hotel. It's going to be wonderful. I think it's kind of wait and see. We'll see what the field is like. There's so many unknowns. The PGA Tour guys, they can be fussy. If they have to come up and do anything that they don't have to do on a weekly basis for safety reasons, precautionary, whatever it is, I could see some of them saying, yeah, I don't want to go through that. I hope that's not the case. I hope the fact that it is a national open in the week before the US Open, it's great preparation. It's right in the heart of the FedEx Cup point season, which I think was such a great move for the Open to move dates after being stuck in that July date for so long. That July now is kind of like the dog days of the PGA Tour season before the playoffs come around. But now
Right.
that the fact that they're in early June, it just feels like it's at a much better part of the season, right before the US Open, like I said. And I mean, I sure hope that it's got a great field. Obviously, the Canadians contingent is very strong. Obviously, there's a lot of RBC sponsored players. Rory McIlroy is the defending champion. I sure hope we see him come back. And really, that's probably all you need, anyways, is Rory McIlroy and some of those RBC guys and the Canadians. But I hope so. I think it's going to be great, man. St. George's is obviously a great course. It's an historic course. Canadian Open warrants being at a course like that, like it did at Hamilton. So we'll see. I just crossing my fingers that obviously both the men's and women's opens are played this year, because 2 straight years of cancellations, man, that's just awful.
Yeah, it's something, and we're desperate for it, right? Like, golfers up here north of the border, we're absolutely desperate for it. Like, I know our partner on the podcast, Bryce, he wasn't able to join in with us, but he's from the area. He's from Whitby, and he lives down in Michigan now. He played hockey down there and stayed down there. So same thing. Like, he's hoping to come up for it and check it out. Just about a week ago here on the podcast, we had a Callum Davidson, who is a PGA Tour Canada Player of the Year. So he qualified or got an entry into it, sponsors exemption, I guess it would be, into the event, which was really cool, kind of talking to him and, hearing about when he found that out, and he's looking forward to it. But it's such a fluid time, right? I would just hate to see that kind of, I don't want to say just get taken away from him, but get taken away from all Canadian golfers, right, for another year, because we've, I don't know.
And the fact that, I mean, on the men's side in particular, we had so much momentum coming out of 2019. It was the first year of the new date. I mean, there wasn't anything that went wrong that year, right? I mean, you had the marquee attraction, Rory McIlroy winning. You had absolutely perfect weather. Hamilton showed up nice, and ironically, the course was ripped apart directly after that Canadian Open, and it's gonna, it's reopened now. I've been lucky enough to walk around it and see the changes. I mean, the changes are amazing. It's going to be a much better course and a much tougher test, I think, particularly on the back nine there. It's just, that was such an incredible Canadian Open. The concert series went off so well, the attendance, the beer sales. I mean, everything was just amazing about that tournament. And unfortunately, we're now, 3 years later looking to carry that momentum. So, I think Golf Canada RBC will do a great job celebrating its return. And, hopefully if there are no limitations on the field, it'll be just like 2019 was.
I hope so, because I was actually looking it up the other day, and just that final kind of scene with everybody just like laced behind the 18th green there with the clubhouse in the background. Like, I've been to Hamilton Golf and Country Club. Luckily, I was able to go there for a Pro-Am like years ago, walked around with John Mills. It was really cool. And that clubhouse is beautiful, right? So to kind of see it sort of, set up with all those people around is something I hope we can see again this summer.
And we had the Raptors too in the NBA finals at the time. So, I mean, everybody was out there cheering on the Raptors.
Yeah, I think Rory had the jersey on. Jersey. Yeah. I remember that now. That was cool.
It was just absolutely a perfect weekend. Honestly, one the tournament deserved after being stuck with that miserable post-British Open date for so many years, right? it was almost like karma that everything went so well after so many down years. So I just hope that momentum can continue this year.
Well, just to kind of switch over, and I know you got a couple things going on here, Jason, so I won't keep you too much longer. But can we ask you maybe? It's hard. It's going to be so impossible for you to, 19-year career with ScoreGolf. You're not going to be able to tell me your favorite piece you've ever written, more than likely. But is there anything that kind of
I
stands
can.
out? Oh, you can. Okay, great. I love it. Okay.
No, I mean, I wrote that piece. I think it was in 2011 or 12 on Derek Gillespie, and it was the longest piece I wrote, 7,000 plus words. It's the most feedback I ever got of any story. His story was such an interesting one because he really opened up. He talked about some of the reasons why he thinks he didn't make it. He talked about the car accident that nearly took his life, and so many others chimed in. I mean, he was such a hot prospect when he turned pro, and everyone just assumed he was going to get to the PGA Tour, and it just really shows how difficult golf is. Nobody hands you anything. They don't just give you a PGA Tour card because you're a prospect. You've got to get your way there. Sometimes it's about good play. Sometimes it comes down to luck. He never had a lot of it. And there was a lot of things that were said about him, kind of hush hush, and stories that went around, and he sat and talked about all of it. So that was a really memorable piece to write. Those kind of long form player profiles have always been my favorite pieces to write, to try and really understand a player, tell the reader whom he or she is in great detail. And I've done several of those. Writing a piece on Elena Shart where she talked about her sexuality in public for the first time was a great piece. I look at that very fondly. Or pieces I've done on Graham Gillette or Brad Fritsch and these other players where they really open up to you. Those are my favorite pieces to write. But I mean, that Gillespie one, it was 7,000 words and 9 pages in the magazine or whatever it was. We were really proud of that at ScoreGolf.
That's awesome. It gives, like, myself, I've been lucky enough to speak with, a bunch of PGA Tour Canada pros, and Scott Pritchard a few weeks ago, he gave us a good idea of kind of like what the grind is like that a lot of these players go through. Right. And we've really enjoyed that aspect of being able to connect with people as they're kind of coming up, past guests like Jake McNulty, Ziggy Nathu, Lucas Noni, Mac Boucher, Callum Davison just recently, like some of these guys, that are kind of grinding and going through the tour and what they're going through. One of those guys lives in a van. The other guy lives in Dubai right now. And the other guy's playing right now as we talk, trying to qualify for the Waste Management this weekend. So this will be out after that point, but it's kind of cool to hear all the different things that they go through, and kind of growing up and just falling in love with the game like so many of us have, right? So I really appreciate the work. You've been doing it for so many years now, Jason. And
you're making me sound so old.
No, it's just I like I said, I've tried to write a couple things, and it is extremely hard to write at that level. That's why I kind of say it's a skill that's hard to acquire or hard to develop. So it's cool that you were able to give that to myself. Like I said, I've been watching the ScoreGolf channel for years now, and so many other people. So I really appreciate all the work you do. And if we do get that Canadian Open, I'll come up, I'll introduce myself, and we'll have to chat.
For sure.
Talk about our Oshawa times a little bit. But before I let you go, can you share the website, any social media ways that we can not just track the latest,
ScoreGolf.com.
Yeah,
ScoreGolf.com. I mean, our Instagram and Twitter are the same, just at ScoreGolf. So just redesigned our website. Just working out a few kinks, but we got a lot of really cool stuff planned for this year. A lot of stories that I'm excited about to tell over the course of the year. Some fun travel coming up. First time back on a plane in like 2 years coming up soon, so I'm excited about that. So it'll be a good year, and top 100 year, obviously. So that's going to be really exciting, and I look forward to putting that list together and getting it out, and then hearing all the complaints about it as always. But that kind of goes with the territory, so I'm used to it by now.
Hey, yeah, it's just kind of one of those things, right? It's funny that you say the plane. Like next Thursday, I think I get on my first one in a couple of years too. We got a 5-month-old son, so we're taking him out west, and I'm gonna get to play
Nice.
both Bear Mountain, Highland Pacific, hopefully a couple other courses out that way too. So never played out west, which would be really, really great. So I will, I'll have to kind of check out and see how some of those rank. But thank you so much, Jason. Really appreciate you taking the time. This was great. And again, anybody who's kind of listening to us right now, scroll down below. I'll link the socials, the website, and you can go right over, give them a click, a follow, and you'll be ready when the list comes out. Thanks so much.
Hey man, thanks for your kind words and thanks for having me on.
Got a to-do list that every day I gotta run through. I don't want to small talk about it, let it work talk for me. I don't tell nobody about my secrets. Keep it to myself, cause nowadays they wanna leak it. I don't even share it with my family as a reason. Not cause I don't trust them, I would rather let them see it for themselves.